A whole bunch of title matches have been announced in WWE, and a secret AEW signing has been revealed. But first we have details on an AEW debut that ended up falling through. Sean Waltman, better known as X-Pac of Generation X and 6 of the New World Order, would become a key figure in the Monday Night Wars, with him being one of the first major jumps between WWE and WCW during that period. Well, it looks like he almost added All Elite Wrestling to his list of companies that he's worked for, as according to an interview with former DX member Billy Gunn, talks took place over him becoming All Elite, and Gunn would speak with Sportskeeda and said, "It would be great. I think we've tried to get Sean in here a couple of times and things just didn't work out, but I think if the time's right, I think he would be a great asset because he still has, huge popularity and everybody knows him and he's such a good guy. He would not only help with the younger talent, but be a good representative for our company, and it'd be amazing if we could get him here." Nick Hausman of House of Wrestling would later provide a follow-up report on the situation, noting that Waltman was opposed to coming in for a one-off appearance, although the door remains open for a run in the company once he's back in in-ring shape, and he would say, House of Wrestling asked around about the comments and learned that AEW has reached out to Waltman about working with the promotion, possibly doing something with Gunn. While we could not get specific details about the pitch made to Waltman, we were told that he did not want to come in for a one-off. With that said, Waltman is in the process of getting back into ring shape, and those close to him told us they would not be surprised if he showed up in AEW. Whilst it is unclear what the plans would have been, given that the appearance would have been a one-off, perhaps Sean was set to become an honorary member of the Acclaimed, which currently consists of Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, and Billy Gunn. But do you think Sean Waltman would be a good fit for the Acclaimed, given their ties to DX? Let me know in the comments down below. And next, an infamous wrestling star is set to make their return to the wrestling space. In 1992, Kevin Wackles, aka Nails, would take part in a memorable feud with the Big Boss Man in what was a battle between police and criminal. Nails would later be fired from WWE after allegedly attacking Vince McMahon backstage at a house show, with him later suing the company for wrongful termination, whilst accusing the chairman of sexual assault. After a brief stint in WCW following the dismissal, and the occasional independent appearance, he would disappear from the public eye in 2001, with the wrestling convict turning down many approaches for matches and conventions since. Well, this week, PW Insider would break the news that the wait for his return to wrestling is over, and they would write, Kevin Wackles, aka former WWF star Nails, will make his first public appearance in decades over SummerSlam weekend in Detroit, Michigan on 8/4 and 8/5 at Huntington Place. He will be the lead guest for WrestleCon's Destination Detroit that weekend, taking part in signings and photo opportunities. Wackles last wrestled back in 2001 and has long turned down overtures to return to the professional wrestling world. His appearance in Detroit is part of a larger deal that will see him work with High Spots on additional projects over the next year. He has very much been the great get for many conventions and autograph seekers in recent years, but had routinely shut down offers until last week, when he and High Spots put together a deal. It was also revealed that Nails will feature in a 3-hour sit-down interview with High Spots that was recorded last week, with this being added to the High Spots TV network. He's also been announced for the Major Bendy's Wrestling Figure line, which is developed by the Major Wrestling Figure podcast, hosted by Matt Cardona, Brian Myers, and Mark Sterling. This Saturday, CM Punk makes his long-awaited return to AEW, this on the debut episode of the company's new Saturday night show, Collision, with him being out of action since September 2022 and the events that followed AEW All Out. During his time out from wrestling due to injury, one name that's joined All Elite Wrestling since is Jeff Jarrett, who joined as both an on-screen talent as well as the director of business development behind the scenes. Speaking on his My World podcast this week, the King of the Mountain would give his thoughts on the return of the Second City Saints, with him feeling that he will have something to prove, fueling his desire to tear the house down. And Jeff would say, Punk stepping back into the game, and I don't know Punk that well, I'll say this. As a competitor, and especially as somebody with his track record of success, love him or hate him, if you don't think that guy is going to show up with the uber ultimate game face on and want to tear the house down in whatever shape, form or fashion, folks, this is one of the reasons that not just myself, but my father absolutely loved the business. Yes, it may be scripted and it's entertainment and everything that goes with this, but from a competitive nature, even the juices start flowing and you have something to prove, not necessarily to the locker room, not saying that, not necessarily even to the fan base, but when you have something to prove in your gut to yourself, that a guy that could probably sit back and rest on his laurels, I just don't see that happening. Stay tuned to the channel over the next day or so, as I'm currently putting together a list of possible surprises at the debut episode of Collision, with one in particular discussing how Punk could tear the house down upon his return. I'll add a link to the description of this video in case it's out by the time that you're watching this. And next up, let's go to a story coming out of last night's episode of NXT, where a whole ton of championship matches were confirmed. Last week, former NXT champion Bron Breakker would issue a challenge to WWE World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, with him looking to be the one to dethrone the Visionary. Well, on last night's show, Seth would respond to the call, with him happy to accept, with the match now being official for June 27th, and the Gold Rush special of NXT. Next week's show will also feature a bout for the NXT North American Championship, with Tyler Bate set to challenge the champion Wes Lee, this with Mustafa Ali as the special guest referee. NXT Gold Rush won't just be a one-night show, as it was also confirmed that the event will take place over 2 episodes of NXT, first on June 27th as mentioned, with night 2 going down on July 4th. The second night will see Tiffany Stratton put her NXT Women's title on the line against Thea Hale of Chase U, who earned her shot on the June 6th episode of NXT with a win in the #1 Contenders Battle Royal. Night 2 will also see main roster free agent Baron Corbin once again return to the black and gold brand after his win over Ilya Dragunov last night, with him set to compete for the NXT Championship when he battles Carmelo Hayes. And next, a secret AEW signing has been revealed. At the beginning of 2023, former MLW World Tag Team Champion EJ Nduka would become a free agent following the expiration of his Major League Wrestling contract. Since then, he's been heavily linked with a move to WWE, although that is now off the cards. According to a fresh report from Fightful Select, EJ has inked a deal with All Elite Wrestling, something that apparently happened some time ago, and Fightful would write, Fightful has learned that Nduka has signed with All Elite Wrestling after making his company debut back in January, facing Konosuke Takeshita. Nduka hasn't been in the ring since then, but was seen around WrestleMania weekend festivities. We're told he's been under some sort of AEW deal for quite a while. The report also confirmed that there was interest in Nduka from WWE, Mexico, and Japan, although once former WWE head of talent operations James Kimball was released, a bunch of talent that he had his eye on signing were not followed up on. Nduka was at one stage part of WWE's developmental system between the years of 2018 and 2021, appearing on NXT under the name of Ezra Judge, although he would find himself being released in May 2021. All Elite Wrestling have announced a brand new weekly television show, Collision, and I'm about to show you how AEW can use this opportunity to build towards the rivalry that we're all craving for.